I think enough time has passed since the Super Mario movie came out, so now that we've all had a chance to process it and let our emotions settle down, I'm going to say something a little controversial. The Mario movie really wasn't that great. I watched the movie in theaters the first day it came out, and I thought that for the most part, it was pretty good. But after getting the chance to watch it a second time almost a year later, the faults of the movie start to really pop out to the point where it's difficult to ignore. Of course, this video is going to be riddled with spoilers, so if you haven't watched it yet, this is your chance to pause, go watch it real quick, and then come back. Now, since you can imagine that this is going to be a fairly critical video, let me just start off with the positives, just to give the movie its fair share. I really enjoyed how the main point of the movie was the brotherly bond between Mario and Luigi, something that we don't really get to experience at any point in the games. One of my favorite parts of the movie is when Luigi saves Mario from Bowser, and you can see how much better they are as a team. But that comes with the asterisk that this is probably the only positive thing I'm going to say about Luigi in the entire movie. As I'm sure you noticed, the soundtrack is phenomenal. The orchestral versions of so many retro Mario games fit perfectly with the tone of the scene, while bringing that feeling of familiarity mixed with a creative twist. I mean, listen to some of these. And of course, the animation was phenomenal. It was goofy when it needed to be, and downright scary during times when the tone turned dark. But that's pretty much where the positives end. I'll go into more details about the things this movie did right, but I can't do it without bringing up all the times where the movie fell short. So let me start with the elephant in the room, the characters. Obviously, Illumination took some liberties when designing their personalities, since Shigeru Miyamoto may or may not be the best story designer in general. But some of them felt completely contrary to the personals I felt described the characters who I loved and grew up with. There are some characters whose personalities is exactly the same as the voice actor, like Seth Rogen and Jack Black, and you know what? I felt like it worked perfectly. Jack Black's personality gave Bowser a rougher edge while still being a little goofy, and it fit perfectly with the movie. The directors didn't even try to make Donkey Kong different from Seth Rogen, and that was totally fine. The problem I had was with Mario, Luigi, and Princess Peach. My wife described it perfectly. It felt like they gave Mario's personality to Peach, they gave Luigi's personality to Mario, and they gave Peach's personality to Luigi. It was obvious that Illumination didn't want to make Peach a weak damsel in distress who does nothing to advance the plot other than being someone for Mario to save. But as much as they tried to avoid it, it was still the entire plot of the movie, just with Peach replaced by Luigi. Peach's character was so unconvincing that it made me roll my eyes every time she was on screen. She can have a little bit of a snarky personality that deviates from her helpless demeanor that Shigeru Miyamoto normally gives her, but they went so far in the opposite direction that it didn't even feel remotely close to who was supposed to be on screen. It was weird seeing Peach being able to jump around the obstacle course like it was nothing, when that has nothing to do with her role in the Mushroom Kingdom. She's a princess, a dignitary, a ruler, not some taijutsu ninja. She can still be powerful and confident in her role while being completely helpless against Bowser. When I saw her agree to marry Bowser as a way to save her Toads, I felt like they were finally beginning to understand who Peach was. It was brave, yet it still showed that she couldn't single-handedly beat Bowser. But then they completely botched it by having her practically defeat Bowser and save Luigi all by herself. Why was Mario even in the movie if Peach was going to be the hero for 99% of the film? Mario, on the other hand, was a total loser. I get that the purpose was to see Mario grow in his role, to go from someone that people have no confidence in to being the hero of Brooklyn, but again, they went so far in the opposite direction that it didn't even feel like the Mario I know. Mario can have his weaknesses. He can still grow without turning him into a nobody that even Luigi needs to comfort to boost his self-esteem. Oh, speaking of Luigi, they completely ruined his character. He was only on screen for like 5% of the movie, and most of that was him getting chased or locked in a cage. He had that one scene that I liked, but aside from that, Luigi was just an instrument to move the plot forward. This story was no better than what you'd see in a normal Mario game. It just switched the characters' roles around. In fact, it hardly felt like a Mario movie aside from the setting. To me, it felt more like a Minions movie that happened to use Nintendo characters. The The comedy had some moments where I laughed out loud, but most of it was the exact same formula. A surprising moment followed by, "Really? No, not really." Plus, rather than following one plotline, it felt like Illumination needed to blend together multiple games. Adding Donkey Kong characters in Mario Kart felt more like an attempt to shove in as many references as possible, rather than a way to move the story forward. What did the Kong army do? Nothing. It was just Donkey Kong, and he was only there because Mario happened to debut in a Donkey Kong game. They could have done with Donkey Kong what they did with Pauline, have her as an Easter egg in a way that feels normal but doesn't impact the plot in any way. Instead, they combined Mario with the entire Donkey Kong Country franchise, and it felt like I was watching a crossover more so than a Mario movie. Did Mario Kart need to be in it? Nope. In the end, it had no significance other than being another reference to pander to fans. Heck, they actually used it as a way to make us forget that the Donkey Kong characters were even there. Be honest, if you'd seen Link at some point in the movie, would it have felt weird? Probably no more than any of the other scenes. So if they did all these things wrong, what would it look like if they'd done it right? Well, let's compare it to the Sonic movies. In the Sonic movies, there were obviously liberties taken, such as making Robotnik's personality the same as Jim Carrey's, but they never took it too far. They never made Sonic himself feel different than the Sonic we know, despite him having his own struggles and weaknesses that he has to overcome. They didn't overcompensate with Tails, making him the hero when he's normally weak and helpless. They just had him helpful in ways that were creative and fit the situation. The Sonic movies combined themes from multiple games, but they did it in a way where every single aspect was relevant to the plot, and the movie would suffer without them. Yeah, the Sonic movies had jokes that made me cringe, especially whenever Sonic brought up pop culture references that nobody will get in 10 years. But at least there was variety, whereas in the Mario movie, you could tell what the punchline would be and when it would happen. And again, I'm not trying to dog the Mario movie, because in the end I did like it, and I'd still watch it again. But I honestly feel like it got way more credit than it deserved. How do you feel about it though? Did you love it or hate it, or somewhere in between? Which did you like more, the Mario movie or the Sonic movie? Leave a comment to let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.